cozy night where I can read to y'all and light a candle. I have some lip gloss first. I'm getting my nails done on Wednesday, so I'm gonna try and make a video of them because every time I get my nails done, I always forget to make a video. Just gonna light it. It's gonna be in the background. There we go. It's a wooden candle, if you couldn't tell. Okay. We're gonna read Twisted Love. Twisted Love by Anna Long. This is the first book. I've already read it, but yeah. Alright, I'm gonna get situated. Chapter 1. Ava. There were worse things than being stranded in the middle of nowhere during a rainstorm. For example, I could be running from a rabid bear intent on mauling me into the next century, or I could be tied to a chair in a dark basement and forced to listen to Aqua's Barbie Girl on repeat until I'd rather gnaw off my arm than hear the song's eponymous phrase again. But just because things could be worse didn't mean they didn't suck. Stop. Think positive thoughts. A car will show up now. I stared at my phone, biting back my frustration when the app reassured me it was finding my ride the way it had been for the past half hour. Normally, I'd be less stressed about the situation because, hey, at least I had a working phone and bus shelter to keep me mostly dry from the pounding rain. But Josh's farewell party was starting in an hour. I had yet to pick up his surprise cake from the bakery and it would be dark soon. I may be a glass half full kind of gal, but I wasn't an idiot. No one, especially not a college girl with zero fighting skills to speak of, wants to find herself alone in the middle of nowhere after dark. I should have taken those self-defense classes with Jules, like she warned. I mentally scrolled through my limited options. The bus that stopped at this location didn't run on the weekends, and most of my friends didn't own a car. Bridget had car service, but she was at an MC event until 7. My rideshare app wasn't working, and I hadn't seen a single car pass by since the rain started. choice and shoot work on my application for World Youth Photography Fellowship. I helped Josh finish packing after. Crap, I'd forgotten all about Josh's cake. I'd ordered it 2 weeks ago because that was the max lead time for something from Crumple and Bake. It was Josh's favorite dessert, a 3-layered dark chocolate frosted with fudge and filled with chocolate pudding. He only indulged on his birthday, but since he was leaving the country for a year, I figured he could break his once a year rule. So, I passed the biggest, brightest smile on my face. Don't kill me, but we need to make a detour to Crumble and Bake. No, we're already late. Alex stopped at the red light. We'd made it back to civilization, and I spotted the blurred outlines of Starbucks and Panera through a rain-splattered glass. I smiled in a budge. It's a small detour. It'll take 15 minutes max. I just need to run in and pick up Josh's cake. You know, the Death by Chocolate he likes so much. He'll be in Central America for a year. They don't have CMP down there, and he leaves in 2 days. So, stop. Alex's fingers curled around the steering wheel. My wild, hormonal mind lashed onto how beautiful they were. That might sound crazy because he has beautiful fingers, but he did. Physically, everything about him was beautiful. The jaded green eyes that glared out from beneath the dark brows like chips honed from a glacier. The sharp jawline and elegant sculpted cheekbones, the lean frame and thick light brown hair that somehow looked both tousled and perfectly coiffed. He resembled a statue of an Italian museum come to life. The urge to ruffle his hair like I was a kid gripped me, just so he'd stop looking so perfect, which was quite irritating to the rest of us, mere mortals. But I didn't have a death wish, so I kept my hands planted in my lap. If I take you to Crumble and Bake, will you stop talking? No doubt he regretted picking me up. My smile grew. If you want. Lips thinned. Fine. Yes, Ava Chen 1, Alex Volkov 0. When we arrived at the bakery, I unbuckled my seatbelt and was halfway out the door when Alex grabbed my arm and pulled me back into my seat. Contrary to what I had expected, his touch wasn't cold. It was scorching, and it burned through my skin and muscles until it felt its warmth in the pit of my stomach. Swallowed hard. Stupid hormones. What? We're already late, and they're closing soon, so can't go out like that. You can't go out like that. The tiny scent of disapproval etched into the corners of his mouth. Like what? I asked, confused. I wore jeans and a t-shirt. Nothing scandalous. Alex inclined his head towards my chest. I glanced down and let out a horrified yelp because my shirt, white, wet, transparent. Not even a little transparent. Like you could kind of see my bra outline if you looked hard enough. This was a full-on see-through red lace bra, hard nipples, thanks, air conditioning, the whole shebang. I crossed my arms over my chest, my face flaming the same color as my bra. Was it like this the entire time? Yes, you could have told me. I did tell you, just now. Sometimes I wanted to strangle him. I really did, and I wasn't even a violent person. I was the same girl who didn't eat gingerbread man cookies for years after watching Shrek because I felt like I was eating Gingy's family members, or worse, Gingy himself. But something about Alex provoked my dark side. I exhaled a sharp breath and dropped my arms by instinct, forgetting about me shit for getting stranded or being late because I wasn't in the mood. I never stay angry for long, but right then my blood simmered and I wanted to punch Alex Volkov in the face. He was so cold and arrogant, and him, it was